Decisions.
Wait a minute. Are you still looking for cars on Carvana?
Yeah, decisions.
When I used Carvana, I found the exact car I was looking for in minutes. Bought it on the spot.
Electric or full diesel? Decisions.
Come on, you've been at it for weeks. Just buy it already.
You're right. Crossover it is. Decisions decided.
Whether you know exactly what you want or like to take your time, buy your car the convenient way with Carvana.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Welcome to the Idaho Sheriff Podcast, where we are here to continue unfinished conversations, respond to questions, and possibly at times respond to accusations that are being made. You're going to want to subscribe if you're interested in learning more about Dan, his character, his positions on issues, and the world of politics here in Kootenai County. And probably we are, just like a lot of you, the average citizen. And for us, in just the last couple of months, we've learned a lot more about the political players, their possible motivations, and how these people here in Kootenai County influence the direction and even possibly the outcome of our elections. Dan, you're running for sheriff here in Kootenai County, and my goodness, it has become a hotbed of excitement.
Yeah.
Call it excitement. You, however, have had an outpouring of support from the community, from people who don't normally get involved in politics, and they've come to you and they've said, wow, you're someone who's actually brave enough to say what you're saying, and you're not a politician.
Yeah, not a politician by any stretch. And I'm a threat because I cannot be sold or bought. Because I've been a free man my entire life, and by my code, I have lived and done the right thing. They have to dig very deep in order to try to find the slightest thing that they can to try to leverage me, because I'm finding on politics, everybody wants to leverage you.
But so far in this race for sheriff, we have been largely encouraged, and those encouraging voices have been very loud.
They have been. And I love the fact that they are the common people. They're people, as you've said, just like you and me. People that are hardworking, that they want to take care of their family, they want to do the right things. They are the salt of the earth. They are in essence, we the people.
And that has been the majority for us. But as everybody knows, once you're in the public eye or in the crosshairs of the people who don't like that you're upsetting their agenda, this makes you fair game for criticism, which, okay,
sure, it's politics.
But worse,
yeah,
makes you fair game for accusations against you that can be highly damaging. And not just damaging to pursuing a political office, but personally damaging to your
reputation.
Yeah. I wanted to say character.
Reputation is different.
Your character cannot be damaged.
Yeah.
Reputation is what's
sure
out for slaughter, really. Also, in this age of social media, anybody can say anything with zero evidence to back it up. Everyone's got a platform. So it doesn't matter, you're valid, you have evidence, you can say anything.
A lot of times it can be done without any consequence.
And that's true. And then the spread is just instant.
Yeah, like a wildfire.
In this first episode of the Idaho Sheriff Podcast, because we will continue to produce these, we're going to make this one maybe a little more brief. I don't know, maybe we'll extend on a bit, but we're going to respond to a recent accusation that was made of you. It started in a Facebook post and has quickly moved on to circulating through private messages in other local political groups on other apps where people are
It's gone
talking back and
everywhere,
forth.
all over the county.
It's all over the place. And this is not something that you can't retract it because we're in the age of screenshots, that the stuff's never going to go away. Mm-hmm. First, talk to me about who this person is that has made this, what I believe, a heinous accusation against you. Who are they in relationship to you?
Yeah, so the accusation is that my stepdaughter, my former stepdaughter from a previous marriage, accused me on, you said Facebook, of physically and emotionally abusing her, and that she was taken away from our home by CPS.
And the reason that this wasn't just easy to jump on that original post or to start individually answering people as this began circulating is that sure, you can get on in a knee-jerk reaction and say, this is patently false.
Right.
But it's a more complex story that we know people deserve to hear so that they understand context, they understand the history. We've established that this person is, on one hand, is who she says she is, meaning had been a part of your life at some point.
Right.
So I want you to give us some history and background and to understand the situation and how she could ever come to a place where she's making the claims that she is.
Yeah, well, first of all, what was said is categorically false. There is absolutely no merit to any of it. It is absolutely 100% a lie on all three charges: the physical and emotional abuse and being taken from the home. And as you said, counsel takes time in order to advise us accordingly. And we are, of course, dealing with this legally because it is criminal what took place. And so, we had to, I guess, we had to adhere to what counsel was advising us so that we could do things through the proper channels because of how everything unfolded. And of course, this individual is going to be put on notice, as well as anybody else who has continued to propel these false accusations throughout their own social media and other pages. So the fact of the matter is that I was 22 years old and I married my ex-wife, who was about 28, 29 years old at the time. And she had a daughter from a previous relationship who became my stepdaughter. And she was about 7 years old when her mother and I got married. And she lived with us for approximately another 7 to 8 years until she was 15. But in those days, when she was 15, so this allegation took place in the fall of 2006, she was living with us full time. She didn't really have a lot of contact with her biological father. And we did not, at that time in our household, allow dating at, the age that she was. She had a crush, wanted to date this boy, and we would not allow it. And so, of course, she was upset about this. Well, in the meantime, there was a neighbor who had purchased the homestead next to ours. It was my grandparents' old homestead. And one of the things that they did when they bought their property is they didn't properly do some of the paperwork, and the title company was not going to allow them to have that property and close on it unless they came to me and got a easement across my property in order to finish up their paperwork. And so they came to me, wanted me to give them land, which I did not. They wanted me to give it without a cost. And I told them no, and so that angered them. So fast forward a year or so later, this neighbor lady, who is around 30 years old, started communicating with my stepdaughter via email and computers, And she was grooming my stepdaughter, specifically with a vendetta against me.
Now, what is the time period of this? Because you're talking about communication by email. I think things were a little bit different in terms of accessibility, because
Right.
what year are we talking
2006.
about? Right, which you may have established, and I just wanted to refresh everybody's
Sure.
mind on that one.
So-
So you've already got an odd situation
Yeah.
where you have a 30-something-year-old woman who should be...
Grooming a 15-year-old girl for her own means. And so when we look back at all of this, in hindsight, we didn't know at that time that these communications were going back and forth. But in essence, my stepdaughter was complaining about the rules of the house to the very willing neighbor lady, who was then advising my stepdaughter on how to circumvent the rules, how to break them, and then was planting ideas in her head, such as that I would probably find out and I would kill her or do horrible things to her, and that if my stepdaughter wasn't careful, she could end up dead. And she also, this neighbor lady, also said things such as, my ex-wife should murder me, should poison me, should slash my tires, do all sorts of heinous things, because she did not approve of how I was parenting this child at the time. And how do we know all of this? Because right before CPS came knocking on our door, the stepdaughter came and confessed to her mother what was going on, and showed her the emails that were going back and forth, which I now have all of these in my possession for
Still
people
to this day.
that connected all the dots, including when she finally said, we're going to call CPS and we're going to make it so you can go live with your paternal grandmother, to my stepdaughter's paternal grandmother. And so the stepdaughter came and confessed all of this. We knew CPS was coming. CPS did in fact come. They did interviews. There was a guardian ad litem involved. And for about 5-6 months,
So who called CPS?
So it was the neighbor, the one that had been emailing my stepdaughter back and forth, the one that had a vendetta against me because I wouldn't give land. So you see how this is all shaken out, right? You use an innocent child as a weapon, and really it's one of the most heinous things that people do when they weaponize Child Protective Services against somebody that absolutely was not involved in any kind of misconduct or abuse. So when the CPS came and concluded about 5 months later their investigation, they found that all the accusations were unfounded and inconclusive. And so prior to that, the stepdaughter decided that she did not want to live with us anymore. In fact, she had never wanted her mother and I to be married. Remember, I was, when we got married, about 22, 23, and all of a sudden I was a step-parent to a 7-year-old, and her mother was 6 years older than me. So, quite a considerable age gap. If I could go back now and tell myself at 22 as a 48-year-old man, some of the consequences for getting involved in those situations, I probably would have kidnapped myself and slapped some sense into me. But as it turned out, the stepdaughter was granted the right to go live with her paternal grandmother up in Bayview, Idaho.
So the request was made by the stepdaughter.
Yeah, the stepdaughter. So she was never removed from the house, but she immediately went to go live with her paternal grandmother. That was her biological father's mother. And we paid an Idaho attorney. In fact, I believe it was before he was a judge. It was attorney Tim Van Valen. And he actually handled the paperwork for us. And the stepdaughter was transferred to the guardianship of her grandmother. And that was around 2007. But from the time that she confessed what she had done with the neighbor lady and showed us all the emails, she never lived with us again. And that is what the fact of the matter is. And what I would point out is this happened in 2006, 2007, and approximately 5 years later, When I was accepted into the Spokane Police Department's Reserve Academy, I went through an extensive background investigation, criminal investigation, polygraph, psych test, all of those parameters that you have to do in order to be vetted to be a police officer. And I was accepted into the program, and I graduated from the police academy, and I served for about 4 years with Spokane Police Department. And then when I was recruited to the Liberty Lake Police Department, I had to go through that process again, which is the extensive background investigation. So, I've had all of these investigations done, and when my ex-wife and I split in 2017, in 2019, I was granted, well, actually, in the end of 2017, I was granted majority custody of my minor children in the state of Washington. So I've been under the microscope of 2 police departments, a guardian ad litem, a Washington state court, and I assure you that these 3 agencies were not duped into believing that I had not committed a crime. So they knew from all their investigations into me that I was a person that was had good character and that was definitely not a threat to anyone, let alone to children. So that was really a long way of explaining how this all rolled out, but that is the facts of the matter, and we do have that letter, which I released fairly soon after the allegations emerged, showing that Child Protective Services in Washington had exonerated me.
It's good to hear the story in full, because even seeing a report on paper, people want to understand, well, maybe it was just, it wasn't a good investigation, it wasn't thorough, but what we've uncovered is really the story of a very troubled child.
Yes.
Who was having trouble in the home and household, and trouble integrating into the family, was impressionable.
Right.
You have a neighbor and an adult, another adult in the situation who had a vendetta, and also that person doing a heinous thing by manipulating a child.
And justice was never served, because once we took those emails and presented them to the CPS caseworker and the investigator, their response was, sorry, we can't accept this because we can't ever not investigate an allegation of abuse. And therefore, if we went back after this neighbor, then basically we would be setting a precedent that people may not in the future want to ever report a supposed crime against a child for fear of repercussion. And at the time, I thought that was a complete BS response, and I don't believe that. I think that they were being lazy or they had other agendas. But the problem is that justice was not served, not only for me, for the false accusations and everything that I had to endure and the attorney fees, but also my stepdaughter did not receive justice by being manipulated by an adult. And this individual that had manipulated her was a medical professional. So I think that what is missed is both she and her husband, that were part and parcel, because they're both mentioned in these emails, were both medical professionals in the community.
Is there anything else about this story that can be put to rest? Any other things to add? I know I want to talk about some of the strict rules in Idaho for this sort of behavior. Now that we're back now in current times where this accusation is being made. Sure. This then stepdaughter she's now, you haven't seen her.
Yeah, I've not seen that stepdaughter since 2008, I believe. I might be mistaken, but the last I recall was early 2008, after my youngest daughter was born. So we're talking about almost 18 years.
Then in Idaho, you mentioned at the beginning, this is going through a legal process.
It is.
And the person who made this accusation will be served.
Will be served.
How bad is this really?
Well, it's criminal defamation. And the problem is that the Idaho laws are very strict when it comes to this kind of behavior. They understand the amount of damage that such accusations can be, that they can do. And so from our perspective, we always want truth to reign. And this isn't a matter of wanting to go after somebody just to go after them, but justice must be served because the truth was not presented. A lie was presented. And there were other people who also participated in this, and we are going to be pursuing them as well, because I want people in this community to understand that at no time should you ever allow yourself to be bullied and to have to be subjected to untruths without being able to answer back. We have a right in this country to due process, which it used to be you were innocent until proven guilty. But in our new woke world that we live in, especially in social media with quick hit and run posts, you can say the most heinous things without any consequence to it, and you are instantly by public, the public opinion, you become guilty before you can ever remotely defend yourself. We always want people to get justice if they truly have been harmed. But on the other side of the coin, we want people who have not done things that they've been accused of to also have their day to be able to refute such claims and to prove their innocence.
And we've got people in the local political arena, supposed conservatives,
Right.
that latched onto this because it's becoming clear they don't like that you've entered into the race.
They
How
do
dare
not.
you? And not that we're gonna. This will be episode 2, but people who are supposed conservatives that really don't seem to be in their right mind before stopping to consider, okay, this is an accusation. Maybe I ought to get the facts and get information and dig into this a little bit more before I do a screenshot and plaster this all over the place.
Yeah.
And these are people who, again, calling themselves Christian conservatives, who are engaging in the defamatory behavior and
they're going to be
perpetuating it.
pursued, because I want anybody that's listening to us right now to understand that you don't ever have to allow yourself to be bullied, to allow yourself to be abused in the public arena just because you're running for office, because you stand up, you stand for something, and you say, I'm going to do this very thing, and you are attacked. When you are attacked, it's no different than being in any kind of a fight for your life. You must use whatever resource you can to combat the people that are trying to metaphorically kill you. And in this case, we know that there are local politician hacks that are hell-bent on getting me out of the race. And I look forward to meeting them head on, because if they think that they are going to bully me out of this race, you've got another thing coming. I have not yet begun to fight, in the words of John Paul Jones. So look, we'll let the facts lie where they are, and we will be meting out justice to those who have been participants in this heinous lie.
This has been a bit of a heavy discussion because it came from a very gross lie.
It did.
Let's end this on a positive note. Yeah. You are entering into this race as sheriff because you do want to unify a community. You do want to see justice served. You do want equal protection under the law.
Yes.
Can you give us a word of encouragement on the way out?
Cooney County is a bastion of freedom. We have always been those people that are independent and fiercely patriotic. And the world doesn't like this. And the world is watching us. And there are wolves inside our community that, if given the chance, will kill us, so to speak, kill our chance to maintain this liberty for generations to come. But I have such hope and belief in the good people of Kootenai County, the citizens here, that if we band together and if we uphold the principles of life, liberty, and property, if we band together and if we stay of good courage, we can hold on to Kootenai County and make it to be that county, that shining city on a hill for the rest of the world to see. And I want people to always, no matter what, be of good courage, be strong, be courageous.
This is the Idaho Sheriff Podcast. You can listen and subscribe on whatever platform that you get your shows. You can also visit the idahosheriff.com, where you can sign up for Dan's posse. We're not giving you a badge and a firearm.
No, despite what they're saying, this is not
the posse
not
on the
an
website.
army.
The posse on the website is the email list.
Our volunteer posse.
Yeah, we want you to stay in touch, and we can keep you informed way.
I said it wrong. This is going to be used against me. It's my campaign posse.
Campaign posse.
Yeah, too many posses.
And you can learn more about Dan's posse. That's a part of his campaign. You can learn more about that on the website at the idahosheriff.com. And also contribute, because we are going to shamelessly now say, look, we are up against the machine.
Yeah.
We're up against corporate.
Big corporate donors. All of the establishment Republicans, they're pouring money into my opponent's race. And I know that there are so many like-minded patriots that can give us $5 or $10. We're not asking for $1,000, but anything that you can give, or your talents that you can give, come join us and help us win this message of equal protection under the law, life, liberty, property.